Chapter 80. Change your thoughts, change your life. 80th verse. Imagine a small country with few people. They have weapons and do not employ them. They enjoy the labor of their hands and do not waste time inventing labor-saving machines. They take death seriously and do not travel far. Since they dearly love their homes, they are not interested in travel. Although they have boats and carriages, no one uses them. They are content with healthy food, pleased with useful clothing, satisfied in snug homes, and protective of their way of life. Although they live within sight of their neighbors, and crowing cocks and barking dogs can be heard across the way, they love each other, they leave each other in peace while they grow old and die. Living your own utopia. This second to last verse of the Tao Te Ching might have been titled KISS. That is, keep it simple, stupid. Here Lao Tzu makes a case for an ideal society where conflict isn't a problem. Harmonizing with nature is practiced, and weapons may be present but are never used. The ancient Chinese master seems to say that staying close to nature and taking pleasure in the basics of life are more satisfying than pursuing technological equipment and fancy carriages. He advises readers to keep close to the land, work with their hands, and not compete with neighboring villages. While it's clear that the world has changed dramatically over the past 2,500 years, the advice in this 80th verse offers wisdom for the 21st century and beyond. Imagine a world where weapons are vestiges of the past, displayed in museums to illustrate and warn the populace about an absurdly violent history. You'd see the conflicts on this planet exhibited from the perspective of human beings as tiny microbes living on the same body, equally dependent on it and on one another for survival, yet killing each other and destroying their host anyway. War would simply seem senseless and destructive. When we look at the conflicts that have taken place throughout history, we cannot help but see that the hatred and rivalries in ancient and modern times makes no sense. Why won't, or can't, people share the land and live together peacefully? What seems so important that it is necessary to kill each other over it? Even in fairly recent times, those individuals were so hated that we tried to decimate them. Those individuals who were so hated that we tried to decimate. Ah. Okay. Even in fairly recent times, those individuals who were so hated that we tried to decimate them have become our allies. So, what was all the killing about? Why haven't we learned to live in harmony with the life giving Tao? The answers to these questions are obviously complex, but, unfortunately, they continue to need to be asked. This verse doesn't negate any effort by you to create ways to live your utopia. Instead, it's offering you an escape from the vicious cycle of hatred, murder, war, and subsequent cooperation before the next cycle of violence erupts. You can return to the basics of a peaceful existence by choosing to live simply and place less effort on needing to conquer anyone. When you see the inclination toward creating more war machines, vote instead for candidates who support peaceful ways for dealing with conflict. Your personal choices also align you with the tranquil nature of the Tao. You can opt to do without some of the new technology, some or even all of the time. You can choose to write by hand and feel your connection to your source as the words flow through your heart onto the paper. You can choose to walk rather than drive as often as possible. You can choose to compute numbers without a calculator and remember phone numbers as a way of personalizing your connections. You can choose to swim or bicycle for exercise in lieu of using machines. There are many labor-saving devices that Lao Tzu may never have dreamed about, and you can eliminate them as part of your simplification routine. Maybe not having email or downloading music is your way of symbolically staying close to the land that Lao Tzu speaks of in this verse. In other words, you can know what the modern world offers in the way of information and technology, while at the same time being aware of the areas of your life where you want to keep things basic. Recognize when you're feeling the effects of information overload, too many gadgets, or complication, and switch to a natural environment that pleases you for whatever amount of time you choose. Lao Tzu seems to be encouraging you to simplify as a way to heighten awareness of your Tao connection. Try out these new attitudes and behaviors to help you change the way you think about your modern life. You may, in fact, change the way you're living. First, practice radical appreciation. Begin with a practice of joyfully engaging with the things you take for granted. There are comforts such as your home, garden, meals, clothes, family members, and friends that you experience every day without ever appreciating them. Choose to pay attention. Make the shift by giving thanks and loving appreciation. Spend more time close to home in awe over the many simple treasures that make up your life. Second, see paradise all around you. Change your belief that you must travel, be worldly, and experience distant lands and people in order to have a fulfilling life. In fact, you could reside on the same street for a lifetime without ever leaving and know the bliss of the Tao. Keep in mind the thought offered by Voltaire: paradise is where I am. If where you are is at home with the same people, the same photographs, and the same furniture, make it your paradise. Find joy and solace in the simple. Change your view to see the pleasure in what you have, where you're located, and who you are. Cultivate your utopia by feeling the Tao in every cubic inch of space. Do the Tao now. Devote a day to food. Appreciate the mysterious intelligence that created food for your health and pleasure, and say a prayer with every connection to it. Going grocery shopping, cooking, planning a dinner party, being a dinner party guest, eating in a restaurant, grabbing a snack, or having some popcorn at the movies are just some of the opportunities to consciously explore that connection. See these food connections as a part of the endless Tao cycle and being in your own utopia.